Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wolves Den podcast. We're back with another episode. I'm here with Ryan and Tiger.
Guys?
So we're gonna go ahead and start off this topics. But before we get into these topics, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button and give us a shout out. Leave your comments at the bottom, and then also follow us on our Instagram. We have Wolves Den Howl at Wolves Den Howls, and then we have at Tactical Inc. So let's go ahead and start this podcast.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
So what's the topic, brother?
So today, we're going to be covering a few things on the spectrum of today's show, but we're basically going to be focusing on how the jiu-jitsu world has changed in the last 20 years. And the reason for that time frame is pretty much because that's when roughly you started doing jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. So I started jiu-jitsu back in 2005, 2006. So there wasn't too much jiu-jitsu schools back then. The jiu-jitsu, there was like, you had to travel to go to a jiu-jitsu school. So, they had like smaller jiu-jitsu schools, but well-known ones. The UFC like started coming out really big around that time, the UFC fighter, Ultimate Fighter. So that was like really showing on TV. So it started catching my attention. I was sitting on the couch because I started off in martial arts. Like I did Taekwondo, and then after Taekwondo, like I said before, I did the Muay Thai, got into the Muay Thai when I was like 18, Boys and Girls Club that I joined. And then from there, I started watching the UFC a lot. And then I grew up boxing just through my dad. And then I had friends that were wrestlers, and we started doing a lot of wrestling back then. And so getting into the jiu-jitsu was very new. I heard about it, and
do you remember how you heard about it? Like, you remember like kind of what year it was when you first got introduced to jiu-jitsu, just jiu-jitsu itself?
Yeah, so I there was a school that was in my town, and one of the guys was like a bodybuilder, and I remember him going over there, and then a couple days later he came back and he just said how he got his ass kicked so hard, like strength was like not helping him. Like, he was huge, but he ended up getting tapped out. And at the time, we had the guy that was running the school. They were both students at another school out in San Jose. So, like, we were in a small town, so you would have to travel miles to go to that school to train. So those guys that were students started their own MMA school, and They were like blue belts. So we had blue belts teaching us. There was no black belts in our area at all. So if you wanted to join up at the school, like the blue belts are the ones that were teaching you back
It's
then.
almost like everyone at that time and in that area was a beginner themselves, or they were, only had started training jiu-jitsu maybe for about 2 to 3 years then. If everyone's in the blue belt, spectrum of rank. And that's really interesting. So when was it that you felt like, how many years of, jiu-jitsu training? Like, I know the UFC really made it more popular. A lot of jiu-jitsu schools started to open up. We see the rise of a lot of big name UFC fighters in, the late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, right?
Yeah.
And that like skyrocketed the amount of people interested in jiu-jitsu. But when would you say was the time when you got introduced to more like skilled jiu-jitsu martial artists? Like, like, do you know a time or a school when you first met like someone who was a black belt?
So So the first black belt I ever met was a black belt. Shout out to Shamir Shante. I met him at a school, but that was years later. It was one of the first black belts I met. I was at Body Architecture. It was an MMA school out there, but going back, like before that, there was like, I really never met black belts. We did a lot of no gi. Like there was really no, like we did the belts for a little bit. And at the time before we ended up leaving, like I remember I was supposed to test for my blue belt, but it never happened. Like the black belt, those guys that were blue belts under their professor was supposed to come down and test us for a blue belt. So that never happened for me.
I see. Okay.
So I just did a lot of no-gi. So I started traveling a lot more, going out to San Jose, going out to Milpitas, those areas, finding different schools, and then training with those guys. And then I met some of my friends like Anthony Figueroa, who was a fighter. Shout out to him too. and Dog. He was training out of his garage at the time, so I started hooking up with him. He won Golden Gloves. He was a boxer, and he did really well. And then he was fighting under Kung Lee at the time, which was Ush, and started training really, really deep with those guys. And then going back to my MMA school, and then training MMA through those guys. But back then we had smokers. So smokers were like gyms that were like, they would be gyms. This is like 2006, 2007, probably at this time. And the gyms back then, they would, like, if you owned a gym, they would have these little events, and you come over and they have a boxing ring or mats, and you participate in these smokers, or like super amateur fights. So there wasn't like, it wasn't going on your record if you lost, but it would give you the time and experience to see what it felt like to compete, and also to get punched in the face, you know? So those things were like, it was different, it was more intense, but it was fun. Like they were fun. Like it was exciting to go to those smokers. Like it was just a great time for MMA Jiu-Jitsu. It was very like coming out, very new. Like I said, the Ultimate Fighter was coming out. People had these dreams and goals and the inspiration of becoming these fighters. So going out to these smoker events that would hold and participating in them, it was fun.
You know, I have a question for you, Eric. So, you know, you say 2006, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, the iPhone's not even out yet.
Yeah, the iPhone wasn't out.
You know, like social media, like there's no like huge marketing campaigns for these schools. Like people are probably just hearing about this through word of mouth and just going out in the community. People who are interested in martial arts and in fighting, right? So
yeah.
like, you know, like how do you find these schools back then? Like you search through a newspaper ad? Like what do you like? Is it more of just who you know? Like,
so I met a guy that he was training out of the AKA.
Okay.
And, he was a friend of mine, and then he really brought MMA into like perspective for me.
Okay.
So it helped me really fight some of the demons I was battling back then.
Okay.
I had a lot of childhood trauma, and so just like the video I had sent, like it was very true. Like the amount of discipline I got as a child kept me very involved with like wanting to fight, but I didn't want to fight to get in trouble. You know, like there was times where I had to defend myself in school or the neighborhood I grew up in. There was no choice but to fight, you know, but we were like throwing gloves on back then. And there was like dudes coming over from my neighborhood, and we throw gloves on in the front of the house and we box it out, like just street fight.
That's respect though. That's, you know, people are so quick now to just draw a gun or take it to the extreme and, you know, cause bodily harm to one another. And you know, it could become lethal or deadly.
Yeah.
But, you know, back then it's like, you know, those are the stories I'd hear from like, you know, my parents or my, you know, my older siblings. Like we handled business on the street, we throw gloves on, and
yeah, it was a different level of respect.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of it, you know, it squash the beef and you move on, and that's just how it worked.
Yeah.
You know?
So like what I was telling Ryan was like my dad, my biological father, and my uncles, they would drink and put us up in the living room of my grandma's house, and we'd get kids from the neighborhood and box them.
Oh shit!
So or we'd be waking up like, and box.
Yeah,
you know, like remember one time me and my brothers were deep sleeping, and my dad had bought us a Mexican pair of boxing gloves, and my brother United States pair of boxing gloves. And I was that child, like that was the black sheep of the family. So I was like the one that was I never felt fulfilled from like being 100% loved by my father.
Like feeling like kind of outcasted.
Yeah, I was like the chubbier one, the bigger one. My brothers were more like athletic.
Your dad favorited
oh yeah, absolutely.
Siblings over
my older brother especially. He favored my older brother. I mean,
yeah.
So that's what I felt. You know, my older brothers will tell you, like, anytime that my dad was get drunk and there was a beating that would happen, we would sleep on a bed. There was 3 of us sleeping on one bed, and my dad would come in drunk, and then he would take a belt. And one time he took this huge leather belt he had on us, and he just started whipping us because we were laughing, giggling. It was time to go to sleep. So we're laughing, giggling, and he starts just beating us. And then my little brother fell into between the wall and the bed. He fell in there. Then my older brother fell in there, and then I rolled over on top of him, and I took most of the beating.
You took most of the beating.
My dad broke the belt on me.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And then if we acted up too much, he brought a weight belt one time.
Oh.
So he beat us with the weight belt.
Yeah.
So those were like some of the stuff that we endured. So I think a lot of that like helped me out with becoming physical with MMA and the type of sports, you know. So when my buddy introduced me to it, it was like, oh fuck, what did I find? You know, like I actually find fighters that you can like relate. So the first time I ever got punched by a grown man, like an actual grown man with boxing gloves, it was like it was different. Right? Like it was different. Like I sparred and we sparred with kids our age, but then when I got on my 20s and I actually sparred with like people like in their 30s and 40s and getting punched by other people, it's like you start learning. Not only that, it was like this is what you need to do to be a better fighter. It wasn't just I got my ass kicked and then like get out the door. It's like, no, you're teaching me.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I felt like I got taught.
But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff you had to endure as a child, that's just the stuff that toughens you up. So that way, when you go into this situation of wanting to learn MMA, it's almost like, well, I already been through some crazy shit when I was a kid, or things have already toughened me up. So what else do I got to lose? Like I'm it's like at that point, it's just another day. It feels like almost probably, right? Like
yeah, I mean, there was times like my dad would come over and he'd be drinking and he pulls up. He'd slap me again. Yeah. Say, don't cry. Boom, slap me, don't cry. Slap me, don't cry. So it was like different.
Yeah.
Very different, you know. And then we had a punching bag and we'd hit the bag. And, he bought his weights to work out and protein shakes. So we're like 8, 9 years old taking protein shakes.
Damn. Yeah. I'm not, in no way do I agree or believe that was right or okay. But also in the same sense, I do feel like in today, I don't have kids myself, and I'm not saying that we should toughen up our kids in that way, but we are a lot softer on kids now. Yeah. And in that sense, it's like, I mean, the type of shit that you're explaining or saying, I mean, I felt like I went through that with people in my family where it's like, don't cry, or, don't, you got to be tough. Don't cry. You get hit. And like, it just toughens you up.
And when you're a kid, you really don't know what's right and wrong.
No, you don't. No,
you're just like, fuck, I'll take this beating.
Yeah. You just kind of, it becomes like a normal thing.
Yeah.
So.
It's like that video you sent me. You sent me that video of that guy. He said, oh, whenever someone wants to start training MMA, I always ask them, are you ready to fight up against people that have childhood trauma, getting abused by grown adults when they were young kids?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like when you put it in a perspective like that, you're like, not only is it just the physical aspect of them understanding it, but they definitely understand more of the mental aspect of the fighting, right? So I feel like that's the advantage point, right? And then you got people like Sean Strickland where it's like they just have an on and off switch, it seems.
Yeah.
And he's got the mentality to do it. So it's weird, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like for me, I always hide that inner beast now because like I'm a family man, I've had my careers and but that inner beast is always there. So anytime that I feel like that beast needs to come out, it will come out, but it's only going to be released like when I'm ready to have it released, If you're pushing me to that line and that drawing me to that line, then that beast is going to come out and that's a whole different person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I try to control that because at the same time, like I'm a martial artist at the end of the day, and I believe in respect and I believe in having the honor in myself. Like I pride myself with that because first and foremost is my family, like I always say, and my martial arts, So that's like means 100%. But
what other martial arts were like bumping heads with jiu-jitsu back then, you think?
Oh man,
kickboxing, I guess.
Yeah, kickboxing was like we had Muay Thai, we had the kickboxing, we had pancreation that was like coming out. Well, actually, that was already out. I think Boss Ruin competed in that, and Frank Shamrock. Remember I was telling you about that? I didn't send you a video on it.
It's all the body shot focus, right?
Yeah, I think they were doing open hands. I'm not too sure the rules on that, but I remember that was out. They had some tournaments in there that were coming out with that. Wrestling's always been a huge, especially the town I grew up in. Wrestling was big. We had Taekwondo, of course, was back then, and karate. All the martial arts were still existing. I remember me and my boy, we went and got some books from the library, and we started reading it. This is before we even like did MMA, and we'd go to the park and we'd try it on ourselves, and we'd read these books on how to like do this MMA.
Holy shit! You guys must have. You guys fucked each other up.
Yeah, dude, we could fight it out, dude.
Do you think it's bad now with Instagram videos? How people like try and do shit, and you really need instruction
there was no
with those
YouTube
videos.
back then. I don't believe there was a YouTube.
Well, it's like getting a lecture, but with no lab. Like you can't understand how to do things without proper instruction, and that is not just visual aid. Because you'll go and try some Instagram shit. Not that it's completely crazy
or crazy, yeah.
But because your form is off, you're gonna either hurt yourself, do it wrong, and then you're practicing the wrong thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like you can pick up a skill in a 10 second to 1 minute video. You know, like
if you have
a
skill.
TikTok reel or an Instagram reel or a TikTok video or even a YouTube video. You know, I mean, the best instruction you're gonna get is from an instructor, one who's thoroughly trained and knows what they're doing, and also like I don't know, like when it comes down to like you said, you studied this stuff just by reading books as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Books are the cheapest form of entertainment, and I feel like the strongest form of learning because you're constantly immersing yourself in the knowledge that's presented in that book. Yeah. You know, like I was an avid reader. I used to read a lot. I started picking up reading again recently, but you know, I noticed like if I want to learn a skill and I sit and study and try to pick it up within a book, after spending so many hours within that book, you know, I feel like I retain the information a lot more, opposed to like, oh, somebody teaches you something within a minute and yeah, it might stick, but you're not getting the full scope of what that skill is. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's cool that, you know, you and your buddy were able to go and seek out that information just probably at a library or something.
Yeah, we got a lot of books at the library.
Like, you know, it's like, that's the thing. People don't, I feel like a lot of people don't, when's the last time a person stepped in the library, you know, a skill or book?
So, I remember my Taekwondo school, they would have like these Friday night sparring sessions, these fights, and we'd go and spar and we'd beat the crap out of each other. Like, it wasn't like, I don't feel like it was like jumping, we're doing aya type of stuff or kia, right? We were actually like fighting. Like, some of them were turning into some crazy fights, dude. Like, it would be like straight body shots. I mean, we weren't allowed to really go to the head, but we were punching each other. Dude, I got punched in the chest so hard, it sent me to the hospital, man.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so just like bruising each other up.
Yeah, it was a karate guy who came over. He had like a black belt in karate. Karate guys, people don't realize karate is pretty savage, dude. Like, the karates, I mean, they when they spar, they're going like, I don't know if you ever seen them, but some of them have no gloves on. And those guys are just savages, man. I mean, there's some MMA fighters right now that have karate backgrounds, but he would come over, and he was a black belt in Taekwondo, but a black belt in karate. And I sparred with him, and I was hitting him as hard as I could, and the guy hit me back in the chest so hard it freaking buckled me, sent me to the hospital.
Damn. Holy shit. How old were you at this time?
I was probably like 17.
Holy
18
shit.
at the time. Yeah, I was young. I mean, about like 18 at the time.
That was that Kill Bill shit they gave you.
Yeah, it was like 30 something year old
it's
man.
Called.
Yeah. But I mean, it didn't stop me. I went right back. You know, for some reason, some sick reason, I love that shit. Yeah. So I went right back, you know. But I mean, there was like gyms that were holding stuff like that. I mean,
dude, that's so old school that they were still because I said I was going to do my little history lesson for going back in time, but it's crazy because you're talking about some of the stuff that you were going through at the gyms you were at back in like, what was this, 06 to the 08 probably?
Yeah, so I started like kickboxing back in like 99.
Okay, so yeah, but still that's crazy because back when I want to say this correctly because it's Portuguese. I think it's Horion.
Yeah.
Horion Gracie. He's the one who came here and brought it to the United States. But when they were doing, when they were trying to get shit figured out at the gyms, they were doing Valetudo.
Yeah, Valetudo was big.
Yep, I've heard of this.
And that's how they were marketing the gyms. Because at that time, the martial art itself wasn't really well known.
I'm pretty sure.
And that's kind of the same because, like you said, you were going up against a karate guy, and they were going up against karate guys. They were going up against judo guys.
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, so dude, you were really getting the full experience, actually.
Yeah, I didn't
Kind of
hear.
cool.
I didn't hear about the Gracies until like 2000s. That's when I found out about them, and I was like, "Holy shit, who are these guys?" And so, I mean, just anytime the UFCs would come on, I would, just
It was very royal when they would come out.
yeah. When I got into the Ultimate Fighter shows, that's when I really heard about them more. But
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were kicking ass. I mean, they're badass dudes. I have a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect. But just to come over here and take on these different martial arts, like karate guys that you don't fucking know what's gonna happen, and just really put your skill to use is like it's amazing. It made me fall in love with the art. Like these guys are here fucking choking out 250-pound men. And they make you believe that. They not make you believe they instill that fighter in you. Just watching their old fights. It's like
Kind of like
dude.
Gladiator.
Yeah, dude. They're just badass dudes. They're just
You're training a
tough
person
guys.
to just do something and not be scared to do it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
kinda
tough
crazy.
dudes. When you grow up and you have a dad that's fucked up, or or you don't have a father figure in your life. Sometimes there's people in the martial arts world or whatever, just figures in the world that take over that spot for you.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's like, I don't know you, but I look up to you.
Yeah,
I don't know you. And that's how I felt about the
martial arts and the Gracies.
The Gracies.
and-
Yeah, dude. Right away, I was
Yeah.
just like, I saw Hoist Gracie, and I was like, oh, that's that dude. That's a badass
Cue
motherfucker.
George
Yeah.
Michael father figure music.
Yeah.
So I mean, just watching them, and then when you hear them speak, like kicks in, you hear them speak, you're like, it's like, damn, dude, why couldn't I get a dad like that to give me that type of fucking advice?
Dude.
It's like, how lucky that would be. I don't know him personally, but luckily, like, those things do happen, and like, you always wonder, like, why can I get a father to give me that type of advice?
But at least you being able to realize that and then break the cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being a father now. I don't have kids myself, but I'm sure for yourself, you're like, hey, I may have had it this way growing up, but it doesn't mean my kids have to have it that way. You know what I mean? And that's a
Yeah.
blessing in itself. I agree with you. You find father figures in other people, and then it changes your life when you start to seek out like something that's positive. And martial arts it's a universal language it can be taught in any part of the world, and anyone can partake in it and receive the discipline that comes with it, and build their morale and character and their entire self around that. And
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Like when I was in Spain, and I walked into a gym there, and it was hey, I was using Google Translate to talk to this guy. I don't know a lick of Spanish, and still we were able to communicate with one another. I was able to pay the drop-in fee and train at the gym, and I learned some skills, and it's just a mutual respect thing.
Yeah.
It's a universal language. It's a universal like art. People have been fighting since the beginning of humanity. Like always trying to protect their own tribes, or their families and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to see. Like we're talking about the history of jiu-jitsu and how it's changed over 20 years, but if we really look at the history of just combat sports and combat, it goes so much further, so far back.
You're right,
Yeah.
man. I mean, like, even now I wanted to say, like, when you find that really, like, the martial artist, when you find a really good school and as a martial artist, you develop this character, this personality, right? That you are the best in the world, that no one could hurt you, right? And that means not just on the mat, that means other fighters, but that means people in the world, that you develop this, they instill it in you, right? Like I remember being in Taekwondo as a kid, and I started Taekwondo when I was like 10 years old, and being in Taekwondo as a kid and reading the creed, and those creeds was repeating, close your eyes and memorize those creeds, and just say it to yourself. So it was like instilling this, like, no one could hurt me pretty much in this world. You know, you are carrying this respect, you're carrying the honor, you're carrying this legacy on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you come across another opponent, anything in life, because if you have a problem in life, that martial artist that's in you is going to come out and shine. That no one's going to be able to hurt you or take you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what a good coach is going to do. A good instructor, a good martial arts professor is going to do is instill the best in you. Because when you have these fucking problems in life and you're just like hit rock bottom, everything they taught you is going to help you bring you back up.
Yeah.
And I feel that's helped me 100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
100%. Because there's been times where I've hit rock bottom with my business, with my family, with my careers. And I just remember everything I was taught. And I was like, we got to get going again. Got to get back up. Because I can hear my coaches yelling, you're going to stay down. You're going to stay down. Or you're going to get up. Right? If you stay down, that's when you're getting hurt.
Yeah.
That's when you're getting the shit.
You're not doing anything.
You're not moving. You got to keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's just how it is in life. You got to keep moving. You got to keep pushing forward. You can't stop. You got to keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like life is not always going to be easy, and fucked up shit happens in life. But hey, at least we know with our mentality of being martial artists, we're going to keep pushing forward. And we don't take a defeat and just accept it, and that's the end. No, we get back up and we fight again.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing in life, you know, like to know you can get up and you can make something of yourself, even if life throws you to the worst the worst place you could be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Like I didn't train martial arts. I didn't train martial arts until just these last 3 months. I mean, here and there with my friends who train Muay Thai, and, you know, they would show me a few things here and there, but I never stepped into a martial arts gym until 3 months ago. And, you know, I would say 4 or 5 months ago, like, dude, almost 4 months ago, I was 30 pounds heavier. Mm-hmm. I was depressed and I didn't know where I was going in life. And I just felt like all the effort I put into what I was doing was just thrown out the window, and like shit was just getting so fucked up, and I just got sick of it. So I stepped into a gym and I just started running. And I was like, I need to change. I need to instill one good habit. So I'm going to fucking run. And I ran for a month straight. And then after that first 30 days, I stepped into Charles Gracie, and I just started rolling. And I was like, okay, I built up my endurance and cardio, and I feel good about this. And this is just going to help me lose more weight and just something to keep me more disciplined. And I stepped into Charles Gracie and started rolling. And then I started lifting weights. And now it's just like a domino effect of just like so much positive things coming from training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Training is like, it's changed my life. It's transformed my life. And I don't ever want to stop training.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to stop training.
Well, now we see, like, even now, like with a lot of the martial artists, it's what I start seeing is like the guys that are coming in that are new. I see a lot of disrespect.
Oh yeah,
in the martial arts world,
you see a lot of disrespect from newer guys coming in, or you see a lot of disrespect towards newer guys coming in.
So
can you?
So the way I see it in stuff on Instagram is people disrespecting each other on YouTube. Going out to tournaments and talking crap. It's easier to take your wins, do your bow, thank your opponent, walk out, and keep that level of respect. From that moment you're walking onto this mat to compete, you're building your name up.
That's right.
I mean, that you're leaving that mat, your name's still staying on there. You want to make an impression on somebody, have respect walking on this mat. Have respect bowing to the ref. Have respect bowing to the coaches, shaking their hand. Bow to your opponent that they actually stepped up and faced you in battle, even if they lost. By you going out there cussing them out, saying you kicked their ass, saying you did these things, and flipping them off. That's not what martial arts is about. If you look about the old school ways, that's not what martial arts is about. And this is my opinion only, though. So the way I was raised up in it, it wasn't about that. If I was to go as a child and do Taekwondo, and I came home and told my dad I flipped someone off, I'm getting the shit beat out of me.
Oh yeah, it's disrespectful. It goes against. It's not just in martial arts; in all sports. Good
Yeah.
sportsmanship, right?
It's good
It's
sportsmanship.
good sportsmanship.
If someone has the balls enough to step on a mat with you, step in a cage with you, step in a jiu-jitsu tournament with you, and they have the balls enough to train their asses off and step on that mat and face you one-on-one, you owe them that respect.
Yo, yeah.
You owe each other that respect because you're
win or lose, yeah, you owe them that respect.
You're two gladiators going at it.
That's right.
So there's no reason to build this ego up on yourself. You look stupid, you look dumb, and this is my opinion. You're building it like, okay, you're gonna come. What if one day you have the world-class gym, and you want to go to that world-class gym, and you're like, okay, that guy, you're that guy who's flipping everybody off. Do you want that person at your gym? It will happen. People think that I won't have a fallout with my gym. You will one day have a fallout with your gym if you keep egos up.
Well, it's like, but people use it now. I think it's all fucked up because you see it like they use it to sell.
Yeah.
Like to sell. Like you see the whole like
the whole viral aspect of shit.
And,
yeah.
Like we got Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Well, what the
that's promo.
Money,
that's
though.
promo.
It's just like for entertainment, but it's all. I mean, I get it. It's all. I mean, it's all just for money, I guess.
And not to be devil's advocate with that, but Muhammad Ali was doing promos back in the 70s like that. So I mean, he was trolling them. I mean, promos have always been not political, but a huge rant, like a huge trolling. Lead up to a fight.
They have to sell the fight.
But here's the question, though.
No. Well, I'm not defending.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that's not new. But what I was going to ask you to go with what you were saying was, do you think that this is something the kink in the hose? Do you think it's something that's being taught to these young people, or do you think it's just that they have this "I don't give a fuck" attitude,
I think
and it hasn't been corrected yet?
I think it's I don't give a fuck attitude, and these gyms letting them get away with it. These professors and instructors letting them get away with it.
I'm not blaming the gyms, but in a way, the gyms aren't cracking the whip on these kids a little better than they should be, instilling some of that discipline that they, because if you walk into a gym, but I guess some of these gyms are competition based, so they're less about the virtues and morals of the martial art and more about the technicality, right?
So
they're going based off of like who can kick someone's ass and make the gym money and.
Yeah, let's go back when like martial arts first started, right? It was back in the days, or even when you go back when it first started, and you have like the world best trainers training you. Do you think they're going to stand for, as a martial artist, you flipping somebody off and saying,
no, hell no, dude. Like, there's no fucking way. Like,
what do you think they're doing in their graves right now? They're
like you said, you're representing something that's
you're a martial artist.
Yeah,
you're tainting the sport.
Yeah, it's time that we start bringing their respect to martial arts. There's fighters. We got fighters out here flipping people off. They're professionally getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do that because that's what sells on pay-per-view. But you're not there yet.
Yeah.
You're not
also,
there yet.
they're not doing a martial art. A UFC is not a martial art. It's a culmination. It's a combat sport.
Yeah.
It's something that's literally meant to bring everything together and you fight the opponent. The opponents aren't from one martial art. They're from several and different ones, not even the same all the time. So I feel like the UFC is excluded, just like pro wrestling should be. Like, it's entertainment.
I mean,
I understand
like
it's
boxing,
influential.
I enjoy watching,
well, that's more sport.
Yeah.
I feel regulated sport, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we're talking about like egos and people with good sportsmanship and stuff like that, right? And, respect.
What are you teaching your kids also if you have children and you're teaching them to do that?
Yeah.
They're going to grow up with an ego.
Actually,
these kids competing.
Shit is not going to get you very far in life.
You see these kids going out to these competitions or competing in these tournaments and they're acting like the adults. Yeah. That's not what it's about.
No. Dude, you see this shit nowadays. Like, I remember, I remember seeing at a Little League baseball game, the adults just getting so rowdy with one another. It's like,
well, they're getting drunk too, some of them.
No, they weren't even drunk at this one I was at. It's just
damn.
Like you got kids here who are like, what, 7 to 10? And you want to act like that in front of all these kids? Like, what example are we setting? Like when I watch boxing and I see like, okay, we look back at like, let's just look at like Pacquiao and Mayweather, right? Those are, very skilled boxers. But you ever notice like anytime Pacquiao lost, he always just thanked the entire audience, his country, he smiled and he walked out and like,
oh yeah,
absolutely. He just carried himself that way. And that's the way to do it. Like, it's just, he's here for the love of the sport, and like, it's not about like, you know what I mean?
Well, humble beginnings too, like you just said. That dude came from like nothing from the Philippines,
country,
and
you know,
like is now like a political dignitary, I think.
mhm.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
a crazy story. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a fucking movie one day. But yeah, for sure. Like I think there's levels to it, right? And I think that's what separates people from being like a flash in the pan from being like instilled in a bus somewhere. It's always the people that did it right. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the bad boys and outlaws of everything, and they'll always hold their place.
Mhm.
But there's only so much room for those guys. You know,
yeah,
it's the
I
people that
agree.
do it right and help others,
Yeah.
and it's a humble and it's not about. I mean, let's not get ourselves twisted. It is about self, because if you don't have self, like you just said, your coach builds that up. That's the whole point of you fighting. You're fighting for yourself. You want to win. Like, that's the whole point.
Even back then, I don't remember so much disrespect coming from schools. You know, like I had an ego back then as a fighter, and I got checked by my coaches, or I got kicked out of the gyms. And when you get kicked out of a gym, you're leaving with a bad name.
Yeah.
That's the way it was, and there's not many gyms back then to train.
How many years do you think you carried yourself that way in training? Like when you were a young adult, like
I was angry. I was an angry dude. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. There was times where I was going fucking drunk to training because I had so much anger in me.
yeah,
But there was just a lot of anger there, so it was. I really didn't care. I was in a mind state of like not caring. I'm learning a sport, and I'm gonna try to.
I'm gonna fuck everybody up. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I need
when
to
you're
do.
20, in your early 20s,
you think you have everything
Superman.
figured out. Yeah, you think you have everything figured out.
Not only that, I came from a very rough gang neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, into my mind was like, nothing's going to stop me.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it wasn't until actually decided to go back to school and realized that fighting was never going to get me anywhere. That for me, I wasn't going to make it to the UFC. I wasn't going to make it at those pro levels, you know, because I wasn't as serious as some of the guys. I might have been serious in my mind, but I wasn't hitting in the right direction with coaches. I was burning my bridges.
Yeah.
So it made me realize, like, what are you doing? So maybe give this a rest, give this a break, and focus on school right now. Because you got to worry about feeding your family. I had kids back then. I was already a young dad. So what am I doing?
Yeah, you have to put your family first.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I had sponsors. I was making money off some sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, and off my business I had back then, but I wasn't really getting too much into, like, you know, I was working and had sponsorships and wearing T-shirts of them, just going to tournaments, smokers or whatever I could. It was like it was just people paying me to do this, and at the end of the day, like, it wasn't getting me nowhere.
Yeah, I think at that time too, like when you're that young, you know, everybody has this pipe dream of like, oh, I want to be an actor, I want to be a musician, like I want to be a NFL player, NBA player, I want to go to the top, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a very slim margin and small percentage of people who actually have the skill and talent to get there.
Dude, I met people that are like, I've been training since this long, right?
Yeah, I've been training
and they're like in their 20s. Like, okay, you've been training since, or their 30s, you've been training since 2000s. What school? Because there wasn't many schools.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what school that will tell you if it's true or not. Because there wasn't many schools. I was so in depth with the schools. I was like, I got to know what school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but anyways, it was like,
Would they lie? Would you call them out on it?
I think they're fucking lying.
Would you be like, you're full of shit, dude?
Yeah, you're full of shit. Like,
well,
if you're telling me,
how would they react though? Would they be like, I don't know, man.
You want to fight me?
From your fake school? You really want to test your skills?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
that's the thing. At some point, you have to accept, like you got to accept, like, hey, I'm not gonna go all the way to that level, so I got to figure some other shit out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, or otherwise, you're just gonna fucking waste.
It's a shitty time in life, but it's a very real and relatable time in everyone's life. But it is a shitty transition for sure.
Yeah. Now, me coming back into the whole sport, it's been a big eye opening of how much things have changed. It was like, damn, I was gone for this long. You know,
how long were you gone for?
over 10 years.
Oh wow! So you just stepped back into the
Well, I
sport.
never really stopped training. I would train different places, roll
Yeah.
with people, and then spar. I was telling him I get calls to go spar places.
Yeah.
But I was never really. I had some fighters that I coached that are fighting now. But at this point, I mean, I was like, I stopped for like probably since 2015 to 2000. I just picked up again.
20 like end of 23. Yeah.
I started getting
24.
weight, and I was like, I got to do something again.
So like 8 years out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years of being out of
And
it.
then it just stuck with me, like not having not going as far, because I would have been a black belt in jiu-jitsu already if I would have just stuck with that and found a really good school.
From 2015 to now, yeah.
So 2007 or 2006 to 2000 now.
Yeah.
Probably would have been like second degree black belt, but
it's okay. I mean, at least you came back. That's awesome that you came back after all that time. Some people they leave and they never come back.
Yeah, well, it was cool because even when I was coaching fighters,
how did you come? Like, what made you want to come back after? Like, you were coached. So you said 2016, right? 2016.
I stopped.
Yeah, it was when you stopped and you were, doing the bounty hunter stuff and all that.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I started that around like 2014.
Okay, so you're doing that, and then 2016 to the end of 2023, in that time you're stopping in, you're rolling with guys here and there, you coaching a few guys here and there through the years.
I got married in 2018.
So family and all.
Family really made me like.
Yeah.
My wife has always been 100% like on board with I need to do stuff like work out or hey, I got to go work out. It's more me.
Yeah.
And dealing with like issues I have.
Yeah,
so it was like, okay, I got to work out. Like for me,
it's your
like,
outlet,
Yeah, I just felt like weightlifting wasn't doing it for me. My love for fighting is fighting.
Yeah.
I had some tough run-ins even coming back, but like just with people, but.
It's like your love for fighting exceeds everything else.
Yeah, like you talk shit to me, but I'm not gonna care. Like it's whatever to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for one thing, and that's to earn my black belt and get there. Because jiu-jitsu for me is just one art.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Muay Thai is another art for me. Boxing's an art for me. Taekwondo is always going to be my love and art, no matter what people say, because that was the base.
What got you into it?
Got me everything.
Mm-hmm.
The person I was under, Jesse Jakes, like that was the guy who. I was and then training with like Linda Polito, those people that were also black belts and done kickboxing and having fighters out of her school, going up to Camo and those. I mean, just the love I have for them because it opened doors for me, man. It opened doors like
Your life would be totally different had you not gone through those doors.
Yeah, I've rolled jiu-jitsu with world champions, bro.
Yeah,
like when I was younger, like rolling with world champions, but. Now that I'm older, like my body doesn't move the same.
Yeah, of course.
I got to watch out for injuries. I've had bicep surgery.
Yeah.
I have a scar on my bicep. I have a torn rotator cuff. So it's just not, my body's not moving the same for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, you put me down, like you come roll with me back in 2006, 2007. I'm coming at you like a fucking tornado.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was a lot leaner, a lot healthier.
You were telling me, you were like, bro, like you were like my age. Back then, and you were like, man, if I could go back and fucking do it differently. You told me this at
I always talk about how I entered tournaments by myself, take my friends, and they would coach me.
Yeah.
Or we practice on the beach the night before a tournament, and then afterwards we'll get drunk.
There you
That's
go.
cool.
Hey,
that's fun.
It's memorable,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But hey, that's life. I mean, at least you take all that shit with you, like to the grave, and like it's a life worth living because it's with the people you cared about or the people who made it worth it.
Yeah.
So it's.
Let me ask you guys this question. So, do you guys think Americans are messing up jiu-jitsu?
That Americans are messing up jiu-jitsu. So see, I'm
so
so
they talk
new.
about American jiu-jitsu now.
Okay, I'm so new into the sport. I don't feel like I'm equipped to answer that question.
You can almost argue.
Well, he's belted up,
Ryan?
so we can ask
No,
him.
well, it
How
has
do
nothing
you
to do
feel,
with
Ryan?
No, this is not coming from a place of merit at all. This is just because I've done a little research.
Okay.
But this don't. It's not a
Okay,
PhD.
okay.
I'm not being
Drop your
cocky.
comments, please, on this question. Do you think
It's not
Americans are ruining
egotistical.
jiu-jitsu? Yes or no?
Yeah. Do you
Just an
guys
honest
think
question.
Americans are ruining jiu-jitsu?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Because I don't feel like there's a definitive answer. I feel like you could argue both sides.
Americans take everything from every other culture and they turn it into something of
what do
their own.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a hurt anybody, getting anybody angry. It's just a question.
I got a counter question for you then. How do you feel American culture is ruining jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, how do you feel their influence on jiu-jitsu is changing the sport? Like, is it negative or positive?
So the Brazilians I've run across are super respectful all across the board. Every single one of them.
Okay.
Never had an issue with none of them. Every single one of them has been respectful. It's super cool, super down to earth. For me, that's my experience. Right. Anytime I ran into somebody in Taekwondo that was from a different country, from South Korea, that were coming and visit the gyms from that where Taekwondo was coming out of, never had an issue with the Koreans, like from South Korea, if they came down to a gym. Same thing with kickboxing. People that would come down. We even had guys from the Philippines come down and teach at one of the gyms I was at with that stick fighting art. I forgot what that shit's called.
I don't know.
We had one of those guys come down. They're doing stick fighting. Never had an issue with them.
Stick fighting?
Yeah, they use sticks.
What's it called?
The Filipino martial art.
Huh?
Not like a bamboo stick, right?
It's almost like a kendo stick or something.
Yeah, I can't think of the name. My fucking mind went blank.
Beat each other up with a stick?
Yeah.
It's an art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, drop the comments if you know what that is.
I'll look it up.
Some of them are probably screaming on the other side. It's this.
We need a guy that's
how do you say
like,
pendejo in Tagalog?
Look it up real quick.
We need a guy that.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll look it up right now. Well, you keep going.
So,
I'll look it up.
So I've never had issue with any of them. The only people I've ever seen is what I see now since I've come back. The disrespect I've seen at different levels, and I'm nobody. I'm just saying from what I see on Instagram, what I see on YouTube, these tournaments, because everything's filmed now. I see that a lot of Americans are disrespectful.
I can add to that. I think part of the reason why American culture may or may not be ruining this is the business aspect of it.
Bojutsu?
You're not.
Is that what it's called?
No.
What the fuck is that? I don't know.
That's cool.
It's Japanese.
We gotta watch it.
Look
That's
at
what like a staff or a bow.
Bojutsu is the martial art of stick fighting using a bow.
Oh, just type in Filipino martial arts.
Filipino martial arts.
But I was gonna say, everything you're complaining about as far as things changing culture-wise.
Stop complaining.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. You're right. Everything you were informing us about. I'm sorry. I worded that poorly.
Yeah, you did.
Eskrima?
Yeah, Eskrima. There you go.
Eskrima? Okay. That's
no,
the
what I mean...
martial art of the Philippines. Okay.
What I mean, though, is like... I feel like those are problems because... they're focusing more on the money more than the instruction, more than the martial art itself. Like, you know, when it's like a teacher, like they take pride in knowing their student understands what they're teaching them, not in the fact that they can just pass a test.
Yeah.
Like they want to know that what they taught them, they remember and they retain and they can use and practice, right? And I feel like that's gone. I feel like it's more about, I can keep 20 or 30 contracts consistently per week and who cares? You know, I feel like I think that's realistically part of the problem. I think, and then like you said, or as far as resolution conflict, what if you have an issue at your gym where someone's being an asshole? Well, maybe they're going to side with the guy who paid up front. Maybe they're going to side with the guy who paid a year in advance over the guy who's monthly. Those are all realistic things that could be someone's issue. I see all the time people complaining online or on the.
We live in a capitalist country.
Well, that too.
People are always like, it's business. It's strictly business, and it's all.
Yeah, those people that feel entitled, right?
Yeah.
What's that Instagram though where they call in the voicemail?
Look, if you sign up for a gym, and you know you're purposely walking into this gym to train, at some point you're going to be faced with someone who's either better or bigger, stronger than you, and there's a high chance that you could get hurt.
Yes.
If you can't take that, in my opinion, you should not sign up for the gym to train. I believe martial arts for everybody. There's different schools for everybody. But if you're going to complain because you got a little small injury and you want to make a big deal about it, I don't feel like this is the right sport for you. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion only.
Go do Pilates.
No, I'm
just kidding.
so do you guys follow Shoyo Roll? You guys should follow them on Instagram.
Show your roll. Okay.
Shoyo Roll.
Okay.
Basically, everyone calls in, they leave a voicemail, and the color of the tape is the color of the belt. And dude, it is amazing because basically it's a journal for, you could say whatever you want because they don't use names and they bleep out details. So you can literally, if you have a bad day training, you could literally be like, today sucked, blah, 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 blah. Or here's my virtue on why I think this belt class does this. Like, dude, it's so sick because it's kind of like a vent, an open vent for everyone that does jujitsu.
Okay.
And I feel like that's
Like
how
open
sometimes
forum discussion on everybody, like just
well,
kind
and
of
some
like-
of the stuff that I'm like bringing up and a lot of the stuff you're talking about, it's all stuff that people have already been like mentioning. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think it's nice to have outlets like this because it does like let us know as consumers and people that want to learn. Like, this is the reality. Like, some of these gyms are not run like gyms. They're not run like dojos. They're run more like, I don't know, a certificate academy or like just a fucking transitional phase for them to make money off you for 15 years. Like, and the more you learn about the community side of jiu-jitsu, the more you see, okay, this is who I need to get my information from. These are, these are my people. These aren't my people.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn that based on like, you know, just checking out and listening to them talk for a little while.
Yeah.
But I think that's the American side. I think the business side of it is what's going to ruin it because it's an art form, and anything that's artistic, the main problem with the art form is always is the business side of it.
Yeah.
Music, it's the business side of it.
Yeah.
Art, but it's how do you sustain it if without the business side of it? So it's a cruel balance. I think it's a tough balance, man. And I do think it's heading in the wrong direction, but I think understanding problems and addressing them and fixing them is all you can do. So like if we bring awareness to certain things and let people know, hey, this is like a good way to do it and this isn't a great way because this is going to snowball into a huge problem in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you could be like ruining a whole martial art for a generation to come because of the way you're producing all these gyms and
presenting them
and what their morals are and you're just, it's a facade. It's almost like a freaking it's like a scam version of what it should be. And I'm not saying that's what it is big picture, but some of these places are a joke. And to the average guy that's not going to do any research, you know, you could be walking into an issue.
Well, yeah, I feel like
place.
sometimes people get caught in this whole idea like, oh, I need to go train, which, yes, you do need to train. And yes, there's nothing wrong with wanting to train, but they're so caught up in like, I need to get the stamp on my card. I need it.
Or
like,
a stripe on your belt.
Or a stripe on my belt. Or I need this. And, you know, it's like, oh,
Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
Well, going to that, like for me, it's like people, you know, someone saying that to me. I've had it said to me, but like you train a lot. But my thing is, I'm on a mission. And with my mindset, it's for me, it's different. I've been chasing this shit since 2000, like 2000s, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm on a fucking mission.
Yeah.
To get this shit done.
Yeah.
And to become a better martial artist.
Yes.
Because for me, being in the age I am now, close to my mid 40s, I am in my mid 40s, but getting closer to 50s, like how much time do I really have to get this done? People say martial arts a long time, but is my body going to be able to still move the way it is with all the injuries I have? So I'm on a fucking, not trying to be a fast streak, but I'm on a mission to train, keep myself super healthy, and get healthier every time, become a better martial artist, become a better MMA guy, jiu-jitsu guy, and a student of the game, because I'll forever, ever be a student of the game, of the art, and just get it done, and no more excuses of why I shouldn't get it done. Because at the end of the day, for me, I was my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
So I'm on a mission, and I also held a promise to someone that was very close to me. So I'm just getting that.
Trying to fulfill that promise.
Yeah, I mean, that person's no longer here on this earth, but I'm trying to fulfill all the promises that I promised them.
Yeah. And that's personal to you, right? But
it's very personal.
It's for yourself, though.
Yeah.
It's for yourself. And what I'm trying to say is that people get caught in the idea of like, I'm doing this to show for other people.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get caught in that. And they want to like go around and say, well, you know, I came in fucking 5 times this week and this and that and that. Yeah, that's great. But like, what are you really doing it for? Are you doing it, you know, to showboat, or are you doing it for yourself?
Yeah.
And
Especially if you try fast track a white belt to a blue belt.
Yeah.
Because it's going to show on the mats. The mats never lie.
It definitely shows.
Yeah.
The mats never lie.
No.
My first day back as a blue belt, I wasn't nervous at all. But I also didn't go into it like the stereotypical meme where it's all first day back as a blue belt and you're all hella cocky. You do feel cool, but then you're like, there's no level, and I think it depends on the individual. I'm sure there's dickheads out there, and then they're going to be like, I don't feel that way. Yeah, because you're that guy. But like, no, when I came back though, the one thing I did notice is my expectation for myself was higher.
That's good. Yeah.
So I was a lot more critical.
I can see that
when I came back.
Okay.
I was like, I don't deserve this shit. What the fuck am I doing? And it had nothing to do with who I was rolling with. It was just how I felt when I was rolling.
Personally, you felt that way. Like I
just wasn't in control of what I was doing.
There's so many
coaches
people.
thought you were.
Well, no, and you know, I'm not saying it was a conspiracy. I shouldn't have gotten it, but I feel like maybe that's normal because it wasn't a couple months later. I felt like I'm no, I'm okay. I'm where I need to be. I'm not fucking, you know, I'm not BJ Penn, but.
Yeah,
but
who is fucking BJ Penn?
No,
like no, but I felt like I'm a blue belt.
If a coach doesn't think you're ready, then they wouldn't give you your belt.
Yeah, man.
You know, like I mean, you're obviously ready.
But you know what I'm talking about, and you know what I'm talking about. Like someone can tell you anything, but if you don't feel that way about yourself, what does it mean?
That's
you
true.
Know, it really, it's like you got to believe it yourself, and I feel like that's an important part of martial arts. Is it's not tricking your brain. It's teaching you. It's teaching you to understand, okay, am I being an asshole to myself or am I helping myself? Because sometimes criticism, you know, is a good thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need the harsh truth to move past things and to just say, okay, I need to get off this shit. I need to go this way. But I feel like martial arts helps you understand, okay, use those voices to your advantage. Don't just break yourself down, or don't necessarily give yourself false hope either. And I think that's what I'm taking from it, at least. And I think you, and to comment on this as a whole, I feel like the truth always comes out. Like you said, like you can approach this any way you want, but eventually it's all going to show you what you've done and what it's all added up to. And if you're happy with it, then that's great. But I don't feel like anyone who does martial arts is ever satisfied. And I think that's why you keep doing it, because you're never going to reach a point where you know everything or you're the best at everything you do, to the point where you can't learn from others.
Yeah.
How do you feel like, okay, like for me, right? My background is a photographer, and I put my time in. I've been shooting photos for over 10 years. Yeah, I started in 2013. I picked up my camera. So when you put that much time into something and you master it, or like, and I'm not saying I mastered my craft, I still am learning. I'm always a student to it, even after 10, 11 years of doing it. So same thing with martial arts and jiu-jitsu. Like, what happens when you become a black belt and you're just like, okay, I've made it here. I'm here now. What, you know, like you've gone down that path and journey, and you've chased after it, and you made it all the way there. You put all those hours in, and then it's like you fulfilled what you wanted to do, what you intended to do. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a black belt for jiu-jitsu, but for the other sports I've done, martial arts like taekwondo and stuff like that, like I just know you never stop training.
You never stop training.
You never stop training. You're always a student of the game.
Yeah.
Because even when I get to the higher belts in taekwondo, I went to go train at other places, and they always showed me different techniques: how to throw a better side kick, how to throw a better, roundhouse, how to throw better spinning back.
You can always improve. Yeah. Better
jumping spin kicks, and then integrate that, combine that with my Muay Thai and the kickboxing. It's like I'm opening different a whole art up, right? Because I'm doing a spinning back kick, but at the same time I could throw a freaking leg kick at you. That's a Thai kick.
I see.
I'm always learning, and then combining everything together. That's what's beautiful about the art, is that you never stop learning. It's like being a student of life. You're never going to stop learning, because you'll never master life.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You might master life by having a beautiful house or this and that. You might think you master life, but have you really mastered life?
No, that's just material objects.
There's so much to do. Like I've learned just from being out there on the streets with bounty hunting, growing up around the streets, that you'll never really be a true master
of life. No, nobody will.
Nah.
So
we're
it's always so much. People might disagree, but
yeah, we're coming up on an hour, guys, of run times.
Does that mean potty break?
Yeah, I
potty
think
break.
that. Yeah, take a piss.
all right, we're back from a quick little break that we needed.
Did you guys miss, or did you actually hit your targets?
I hit my target.
Nice. It's always good.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, it's good to be back with the fellas.
It's
Been a while. I'm glad we all do our thing though.
We just had like rotating like vacations. Like Ryan was out for a week, and then when he came back, I was out for 2 weeks. So
I need a vacation.
You just take one, man. Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can find the time, go.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So
try to take off with you. Put me in your luggage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'll go to Spain with you.
I was gonna say, how do you guys feel about going on a trip with me back in time, real quick?
I'm down. Yeah.
Doodly 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 doo. All right, lead it to me to be the fucking journeyman or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Twilight Zone right there.
Picture, if you will, Eric.
It's like a hot tub time machine.
Yeah, I'll take that too. Great White Buffalo.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to touch on the funny story that how BJJ came to America and how it almost came to America by accident in the most funny, almost American way possible. So 1969, we're going back in time, 1969, and this is Horian Gracie travels to the United States. He comes literally with just, he tells his dad, he's like, I'm going to go to the United States. I want to like, because I guess his mom was from New York.
Uh-huh.
So he was, long story short, he's like, I'm going to go to the United States. He's got pretty much just his money, his plane tickets, right? So he puts all his shit in a hotel safe because he's all, I'm going to go out on the town. I don't want to get my shit stolen. So I'm going to put it in the hotel safe. He comes back to the hotel safe and the lady who worked there robbed him blind. Or someone at the hotel robbed him blind. Took his fucking money. Took his plane tickets to get back home. So he files a grievance with the airport, like basically saying like, this is just like someone stole my tickets. Can I get a refund? They said you have to wait 6 months so they can determine it's not fraud. So he calls his dad and says,
I'm here for 6 months.
well, yeah, but he says, hey, I love it here. He doesn't tell him about the bullshit. He says, I want to stay in the States for another 6 months and really just check shit out. So he goes to it. He starts attending this judo class at the YMCA down in Southern California.
Okay.
And he just, the way I read this article from Bleacher Report that I'm going to sign, it's funny because they said he walked in a white belt and walked out a brown belt. So basically, yeah, he just walked in there and it was positive because he made really close friends with the owner.
Yeah.
And the owner ended up helping him get a job at White Castle down there.
Oh, wow.
So he was able to turn that 6 months into 3 years. And with all those fucking people he met and all those connections and all the shit he did while he was down in Southern California, he's like, all right, I need to go back. I need to like game my shit up and do this right. So he went back to Brazil in the 70s and he got his fucking, I think he got his law degree.
Oh, okay.
And then he decided, it wasn't until 1978 and he came back and he brought his, Hoyce and Hickson with him and Hoyler Gracie as well. So they all came to fucking start this shit. They started in a garage. But the crazy thing is that back then it was so hard to bring awareness to jiu-jitsu because of the 60s and 70s. The Kung Fu film era was so popular and dominant that everyone in American culture was focusing on the striking aspect of martial arts and not the grappling. So, I mean, wrestling was really the only style that was grappling that was respected in American culture. Everything else was kind of just like, unless it was a striking martial art, it really wasn't as popular. So what they would do to get their name out there and to just meet people was they'd have these no holds bars competitions, but they called them valetudos. Mm-hmm. And there's legitimately no fucking rules. And that whole controversy with the guy who got bit, biting is legal.
In Valetudo.
Biting is legal in Valetudo, dude.
So
yeah, well, not for sure. I'm not saying he should have bit him, but I just thought, I'm like, dude, how fucking gangster is that? They're like, dude, go ahead, anything you want to do. That's how fucking sure like they were about what they were doing. That they were like, we don't need rules.
Have you seen?
You bring your hardest shit.
Have you seen one?
I've
No,
never
I
seen
want to
one.
watch
Have
it.
you
Now I
seen
want to
one?
look it
Have
up.
you seen one?
Just on YouTube.
Okay, I want.
I need to look it up now.
It's like human, like fucking rooster fighting.
Basically, dude.
You know what I mean? It's like, let's just-
Yeah, does it sound cool though?
Yeah,
But they
that's sick.
so it became, I thought this was also cool that it became the job of the elder students to go out and pick fights with other martial arts schools to help bring attention to the Gracie's teachings.
Do you imagine like
Isn't that
just
crazy?
like
You're in
being in-
school one
yeah.
day, and then like the Gracies come in. They're like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
some
we're here
dude
to
just rolls
fucking
up.
challenge you, motherfucker! Like, we're
Some
here to
dude-
challenge you.
Hey,
and
you
show
raided
you-
in my car yesterday.
Yeah, you ready to fucking show?
Yeah.
See, let's see what you got.
must have been
you know?
kinda fun.
and then he
though.
just chokes you the fuck out, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, but
Man,
think
yeah.
think about it truly though. It's you and your boys, and that happens. That must feel pretty fun though. That
Yeah.
must be kind of fun. You're like, fuck
It's
yeah.
like all three of us going out, and we're just like, we're gonna go pick up random fight somewhere.
Yeah,
Let's go to Rayleigh's, dude.
yeah. Let's go to Raleigh's
Pick up
right
your
now.
fucking
Fuck
cabbage,
yeah.
We're
loser.
gonna go hit up this Taekwondo gym, and we're gonna see.
See what the fuck. You know.
What's wrong with American culture? We just summarized it in 2 seconds. There you go.
That's right.
But no, we were just talking about sneaking in your luggage, and this kind of wraps up the whole jiu-jitsu subject too, in a way, because you were just in Europe doing a pretty awesome tour of Europe.
Yeah, I did 2 weeks. I went there for work, but I decided to go a week early to check out Spain. So I had to do photo shoots in Italy and like north of Milan in Lake Como area, and then I also had another one in Paris. But I went a week early and I toured Spain, and I hit Barcelona, the eastern side of Spain, went south to Seville, and then went to Madrid, and then took off to Italy. But while I was there, I trained at a Gracie gym in Barcelona. And I dropped in on a class. I was just like, you know what? Like I gotta stay on my toes. Like, I don't care if I'm on vacation. I get a lot of joy out of training here back home, you know? So I was like, I want to make sure I drop in on a gym and just get my time in. Anytime I travel, like if there's a gym at the hotel or wherever I'm staying, I try to just, lift or, get my cardio in and run, around wherever I'm at. But I was like, you know what, this time's different. I'm going to go train at a jiu-jitsu gym and see what's up. Yeah. And it was cool. Like, the instructor taught everything in Spanish, but there were guys that had moved from the United States to Spain. So there were guys that spoke English there, and they was able to translate, but they didn't even have to really translate because my instructor demonstrated everything that he was teaching. Right. And I just kind of learned by watching. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I understand what he's saying, like how the grips he's wanting me to do, what he wants, the takedown he wants me to learn. And I just drilled it, and it all worked out. And then it was very similar to back here. Like he taught us a few different moves, and we did warm-ups. He taught us a few different moves, and then we flow rolled for like 20-30 minutes. So it was very similar, very, very similar. But I did notice, like, I felt like the warm-ups and the moves they were teaching for just like a fundamentals class, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I was in Spain, it felt different, and it was in another language, but it just felt more like an advanced like move than what they would teach in a fundamentals class like here in town. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to say that in a way that's like makes what we learn here like not good, like, but I don't know, maybe those guys in that class, they were all like white and blue belts, mm-hmm. and mostly blue belts, so maybe that's why, like, they were teaching a more advanced move or something. I don't know.
Well, I think it's pretty cool because not too many people could say they went to another country and
trained to, and you know what's cool about that, like, just for all the viewers watching, if you ever want to train at a gym in a different country, just go there and say, hey, I'm visiting, I'm on vacation, do you guys offer like a drop-in class? It was 30 euros and I got to train for an hour, and I was like, you know what, 30 euros to go train in a different country, that's an excursion of its own. That's cool. Yeah, I would happily do that again, like in any other country I went to. Like,
if we take a trip to Hawaii, like I plan on going to like checking out BJ Penn school.
Oh hell yeah, you should.
Just
cool.
Well, I've told you, I was like, dude, I want to go. Like, my dream, like, I want to go train at Tiger Muay Thai, Thailand. I want to drop in there. I want to drop in, like, anytime I travel now, I just want to train. Like, I have to keep up with my career and like the photos that I do, which is like wedding, fashion, and commercial stuff, but it doesn't mean it can't take the time for an hour to go drop in on a class, or
Yeah, and get the real experience. Like
Get
if
the
I
real
if like
experience.
if you went to Mexico, might as well try to find a boxing gym,
boxing gym.
good
Yeah.
boxing gym, and really try to train
Yep.
to see the difference.
Yep.
Like there's some people that are not as some gyms out there that are not as they don't have the equipment like we have. They're not as blessed as we are here
Yeah.
to have the equipment.
Yeah.
So they're training a lot differently. Those gyms are they're rough, dude.
Oh
I
yeah.
had some fighters out of there.
Yeah.
Take some of those fighters, and it's crazy. Like when that throws off, but when I was coaching wrestling, a lot of the kids that were really good and were coming from the east side of San Jose. That we
Mhm.
had.
Yeah.
They didn't have the privilege that other kids had.
Yeah.
And I brought some fighters down. We had Cynthia Cavillo, UFC fighter. Shout out to her. She came out and helped with our wrestling class, and helped us out with some of our kids.
That's awesome though. It shows those kids from like that aren't as fortunate and coming from those rough neighborhoods that, hey, you have a shot, you have a chance. And here's someone who's a UFC fighter who's coming in to help and show you like, hey,
Yeah, she wasn't even pro yet at the time.
but she was able to
yeah.
come in and give her expertise and help.
Yeah,
and
I think she was. I only think
might change those kids' lives.
she might have been pro, but she was like not fighting for the UFC yet.
Mhm.
But that gives them like hope. Like even when she turned
Yeah.
pro and she saw her in
Yeah.
the UFC, we all got excited. Oh, that's Cynthia Cavillo. She's fighting
Yeah.
UFC now.
Mhm.
She was she was
At her
down
gym.
here not too long ago teaching the kids how to wrestle.
Yep.
Helping out with these kids. And shout out to her for even taking
It's
the time out
badass.
to do that. And thank you, Cynthia, if you ever see this video. We really appreciate it. And a lot of those kids are doing good now.
Shout out to the whole 408.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have San
exactly.
Jose definitely. We'll do a short clip, but San Jose is definitely backing you up, Cynthia. The whole Bay Area, we have your back. One day we'll hopefully see you as a future champ of the UFC. We got Sam Spangler down there. He came out and helped us out. So he fought for Bellator. It's been really blessed just to see all these fighters come out and help us, man, when we're starting this wrestling program.
It's an awesome community, man. Like for the most part, everybody's on their journey to level up and do it for themselves. It feels like, but for them to give back, especially to the youth, that's just great.
Yeah.
It's like yourself. Like you told us, you were like, okay, I may not be in the condition I want to be in, and my dream of pursuing a career as a professional fighter might not be where, it didn't pan out the way I wanted it to, but I can still use the expertise and skills and knowledge that I have, and I can train other kids, and maybe one day even open a school or something.
Yeah, we had a school at the Mexican American Community Services Agency that was Moxa back then. We rented their little place out. And
Mhm.
Moxa was a nonprofit, but they gave us a little spot in their building. So we had an after school program I would run, and we would teach the kids how to wrestle and how to fight MMA.
That's the one
awesome.
in downtown San
That's
Jose.
sick.
It was in San Jose, but on the east side of San Jose.
Because I remember the place called the Makla,
Yeah, it was called
and I used to go to
Moxa.
hardcore shows there.
Yeah, it was Moxa. So yeah, we
You're a
actually had a
model.
Same kind of
room.
thing though. It was
Yeah.
basically multicultural. I think it was Mexican American. I think that's what it stood for. Mexican American cultural.
So we
learning.
pretty much took kids that were involved with like the streets, or they didn't have like the privilege to go to a school, and then we taught them MMA and wrestling. So
Hell
it
yeah.
was cool, man.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, we ran that every day after school.
That's
People-
cool.
If we figure we could take the kids off the street from 3 o'clock after school till 6 o'clock at night, at least to get them tired where they can go home. They're staying off the street.
You're gonna be
for
too
that
tired
Yeah,
to kill
you're not-
somebody.
night.
just
do
kidding.
whatever.
See, why did you go there? Why'd you go there?
Oh, man.
Come on.
Yeah, right?
I'm just kidding.
We're
I'm
not
just
those
kidding.
type of kids.
No, I just wanted to
Yeah.
tie it all together. No, I'm just
God
kidding.
damn it.
That was good
Nah,
though. I
man.
took you off.
Keep them off the street and keep them out of trouble. I mean,
No, yeah. Well, I mean that's what it was saying. Just keep them out of trouble. Not all bad kids. Some of them are though. Some of those kids.
No, some of those kids do
some
crazy
of those kids
shit,
are fucked
dude.
up.
Some of those kids,
You know?
I mean, they
Let's be real.
They get taught like, oh, let's
Some good eggs, dude. But you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, you hear
It's
about
true.
it. There's
Yeah.
kids like 13, 14-year-olds like touting guns and like, they really want to go out there and be killers. And it's
Yeah.
like, fuck, like how do you get there at such a young age?
Well,
you know?
abuse and trauma.
Abuse and
You know what it was
yeah.
for me too? Also, was the teachers in school. I had one
Oh,
good
my
fucking
teachers-
teacher.
Yeah, my teachers,
You
they helped me.
a good teacher. Or
Yeah, I
bad
had a good teacher that
Oh, okay.
she would check in on me.
That's good.
And
Yeah.
You need mentor. You need mentorship.
Teachers don't get paid enough, man.
And I would get so mad at her. I was like, I want to go hang out with the boys, and nope, come to class, learn this math on lunchtime. You need to come in here.
She knew you had a slippery slope.
Oh, dude, yeah. I have one of the teachers actually. She's still on my Facebook that I keep in contact with.
Same with me. I keep in contact with some of my teachers from like high school and middle school and even elementary school.
Yeah,
I still
I
have
keep
them
in
as my
contact with
friends.
all my wrestlers still from.
I want to get in touch with my 5th grade teacher.
God.
He was cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. No, he's a dude. It was a dude too. It's not like I'm trying to be a pervert.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't know what
come
you
on.
were gonna say, dude.
No, he was cool.
Sometimes
He was a cool
Ryan
guy.
just goes off.
No, I made one comment and I thought it was decent, but whatever. I'll take the fall for it. But before we end on an awkward note, why don't we offer some advice for we got 3 categories for this advice. I feel like it goes for parents, it goes for single parents, and it goes for people just on their own, not
kids?
just women, people without kids even, Tiger.
Okay.
I would say just because everyone's a target at one time or another in the day, right? So I feel like women feel like they're targets when they're by themselves. Men can be targets by themselves. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When it's a single parent, whether it's a man or a woman, and you got more than one child or even just a child with you, you feel like you're vulnerable, as you should, because if you're by yourself, you can only protect yourself so well. So you're gonna definitely feel at a disadvantage when you got to be responsible for someone else as well. So, do you have any kind of what do you normally do that's special, that you're willing to share, that you think it might be helpful for some people when they got kids, little kids, or
like the human trafficking.
Well, yeah, just be aware.
Protect themselves,
If you're leaving a store, or let's
harm
just say you're leaving
danger.
a grocery store, what's your ideal way to leave the grocery store safely? If you're pushing the shopping cart,
Yeah.
you and your kids, you're pushing the shopping cart to your car.
Yeah. So first of all, you know where your kid's at. Always have your kids with you, your child with you. As if you're a single mom being by yourself, you have a baby, make sure that baby's tucked away in the cart or near you or on you. Never leave her alone, not even for a second. These predators are out there, are constantly watching from the parking lot to inside the store. They are working together as a unit, as a team. So the moment they
see an opportunity,
they're going to take it, even inside the store. Always watch who's following you down the aisles. Watch your areas of what exits you have. Always know an exit plan. The moment you have entry to the different areas you can leave the store. If you're in a Target or a Walmart, they're bigger stores. Know that there's what areas you can get away with, get out of. And when you walk out, put your phone away. Most people become victims because they're on their phone. They're not paying attention to surroundings. They're not paying attention to the car next to them. They're not paying attention to the car. You might have that old lady who says, I dropped my credit card under my car, and asking you for help. The moment you go under that car to get that credit card, your child's going to get taken, right? Those are things that how these people are working every single day. So when you're leaving your home, put your phone away. Most people will leave their home and be on their phone. Put your phone away.
I agree with you. Yeah. You know what else stands out for me is humans, I don't know, just animals in general, they have this instinct of knowing when they're in danger.
Yeah.
And trust that instinct.
Yeah.
Right. I've been in situations myself where I was like, I'm in a bad spot. And my instinct, my gut feeling is telling me I need to get out of this. I need to trust my gut instinct. Yeah. And as soon as you feel that, trust it. Yeah. Don't doubt it. If you feel I used to go backpacking and hiking, and I remember one time I was on a trail by myself in the fucking woods, and you don't know, it's some of the people out there is fucking crazy. They're like, oh yeah, let's go. There might be a crazy ass person out there, and they're following or trying to find another hiker or somebody to fuck with or do some crazy shit to. And I remember there was one time I was hiking in Lassen National Forest near Lassen Volcanic Park. And there was this guy following me, and I was like, man, this does not feel right. I'm by myself. It's fucking quiet. And I walked by the guy, he was walking past me and I was walking past him, and I tried to like acknowledge him, and he just gave me this look, and then I turned around and he was following me, and I was like, fuck this, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this guy wants,
I
so
wanted an organ.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Fucking crazy ass people out there in the world, man. So trust your gut instinct.
But once again, that kind of fits that whole thing of like some people think like, oh, because you're a man, you're not a target. Well, guess again.
No, yeah, you
Guess
gotta be
again.
careful.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
But I was going to say another good thing too is a lot of cars nowadays have this automatic feature where you open your door, it unlocks all the doors.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is once you get in your car, the back doors are open too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone gets in the back, then what?
Yeah.
That's
And you hear about
true.
all the time about women getting someone being in the car or getting in their car right when they get in there because they get in the car, they don't lock the door, they're fumbling with their keys, their purse, getting all that shit together. They're not paying attention to their mirrors, nothing.
Well, I think you
someone
can
can
get a
get in
good
there.
sense too, like especially like as a woman, like you should, if you feel unsafe to walk to your vehicle by yourself, especially in the nighttime, and you can get a good sense of people like in an area where you're at. Like let's say you're leaving a shopping mall, right? And I've heard of this happening like, in shopping malls where they'll walk to their cars and they're being followed, but if you're in the shopping mall still and you can get a good sense of the people around you where there's other people watching, does it really hurt to ask another person to like, hey, can you watch me walk to the car, or can you walk me to the car?
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to ask that, because that could save your life.
There's so many people, like when I was bounty hunting, we'd conduct surveillance on them and then we'd follow them.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't even know we were following them for such a long time. I mean, we have our techniques how to like switch in and out, but they would not even know that we were following them. They would leave their house on their phones. They would get in their cars.
Oh, I think it's scary
Right,
once you learn all that reconnaissance and you realize how vulnerable
You learn their
everyone is.
patterns every single day.
I think you also know how vulnerable everyone is too.
Yeah.
Even yourself. Like if you're not paying attention, how do you know who's?
I feel like I've been followed before
Yeah,
in my
watching.
car, and I'll notice it though.
I mean, you have Instagram, you have Facebook. People are going to
Yeah,
learn your
people are
patterns.
gonna-
All you have to
Mhm.
do is learn a pattern.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
Like,
scary
you go
part.
here, you hang out with these people, you do this, you do that.
The,
you
the other
change your
thing is,
lifestyle.
with people that have messed up, is the apartment complexes will have those stickers.
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
have
They
a
tell you
sticker.
how many dogs and kids. And all
No,
that
they'll
shit.
have a sticker saying like you live, like it's like a sticker. Put this so you can park here. It's a little sticker that goes on your window.
Oh, it's so they know where the complex is.
Yeah, you know exactly where that person lives.
lives. Yeah.
So those stickers, you definitely want to try to talk to your apartment complex and take that shit off,
Well,
hide
yeah.
in and out, because that person can find out where you're at. Apple AirTags, people are using those now.
I would put
Yeah.
them on like cars.
You know what's crazy is
Like,
they had to, so they changed the software on those. So if somebody like drops an AirTag on like in your gas tank or something, right? Or like not in your gas tank, but
You,
they
like,
open the
buy it.
door and
Mhm.
they drop an AirTag in there, or they try to like tag it onto your car.
Yeah,
Another iPhone, any iPhone with close to that AirTag will pick up that AirTag.
yeah.
So if your own phone, if somebody tries to drop an AirTag on you, your phone will pick that shit up and it'll tell you like there's an AirTag on your car,
Yeah.
which is good.
It's not just registered to that specific.
Well, here's the other
iPhone.
thing you can
Huh.
do too for that lock
Interesting.
situation is keep your back of your doors locked, child safety. So
Oh,
someone gets in the back of your car, you have a reason to get out of your front seat. They can't get out of the back seat of the car because you have child safety locks on.
Oh yeah.
So now they're
stuck
trapped
there.
in their car.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But one thing that I do have to say for people that are going to get taken or human trafficking victims is that the moment that you're taken, don't stop fighting. The moment
Fight, I was just about to say that. Fight back.
the moment that they step in your car, the moment that they grab you, the moment
Make
you're
s-
put in a vehicle,
Yeah.
Yeah, because you should be probably already thinking you're already dead at that point. So you got to do
Oh, yeah,
something.
it's
you
fight
need
or-
to stop
it's
fighting.
your
You
life
need
or
to start
death.
fighting.
You're basically
That's just
dead.
my advice. Like I tell
Yeah,
my
and that's-
kids, my wife, like if you're ever taken, you have literally minutes to fight for your
Yep.
life to
Gouge
get out
their
of that
fucking
situation.
eyes. You go for the throat. Like you just go for anywhere you can where you can get out of that situation.
You need to fight.
Knee bar,
no
dude.
matter
You have
what.
to fight. You have to fucking fight. So
Fight, kick windows
Heel
out.
hooks.
Whatever,
Then Now's the
yeah.
time to
Everything
break
you
out
a
the
can.
heel
scene
hooks.
too. Make a scene so that way people know you're in danger.
Yeah,
Make a
that's
scene.
true.
You
From
know,
the
for
moment you're
some-
taken to point A to point B, you're going to be moved.
Oh yeah, and then you're
You're going to be moved, and it's going to be a lot harder for people to find you. So
Yep.
from that moment you're taken, fight, fight, fight. Don't stop fighting.
don't stop fighting.
Think about that day that that it could come, like when you're training in that fucking gym, think about those days that you can't stop, where you feel like giving up in that gym and you feel like quitting, you feel like stop punching that punching bag. Think about the days that you won't have a chance to, that you're going to need a chance to fight.
That's
so
right.
all you got to do is just fight.
Yep.
That's your chance that you have for survival.
And that's your chance. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, and please
Yeah,
drop and leave your comments. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe.
And I've been liking the comments. We've been getting people actually arguing on our videos, which is fucking awesome.
That's good.
Totally. And I'm not going to interfere or mediate at all. I want to watch all the chaos happen.
No, yeah. I mean, if it's sparking up conversation and people, that's
and reach out to us on Instagram. I mean, you can go to Wolves Den House. Sorry, I just got to get out of this little space that I was in right now.
Yeah,
you're good. I shifted quick.
Yeah, you shifted.
No, it's okay.
Well, I'm just clock management. That's all. I'm looking out for you guys.
Yeah, go to Instagram, the Tactical Inc. or the Wolves Den House Instagram, and let us know the next topics you want us to talk about, or drop it on the comments the topics you want us to talk about. We're more than happy to shoot the shit with those topics and give our best expertise or advice on those topics.
Yep.
If you have questions or anything like that, feel free to hit us up. We'll always answer. I always answer most of the questions people ask me on there.
Yeah. And thanks for the continued support. It seems like we're definitely getting a lot of people involved and different types of people, which is exactly what I want. I don't want like just jiu-jitsu people. I don't want just like people that lift weights. I want like everybody. Degenerates, rule followers, zealots, whatever you are, as long as we can get along, that's all that matters. But we're all learning, so it's important to learn from people from different cultures, different backgrounds. It's all part of what we want to do here. So I'm just happy that it is working out the way we want it, and it's a giant melting pot of chaos. So,
yeah, and we bring like different walks of life. So I mean, that's what makes it so great as a podcast, is that we're bringing different parts of our lives here. Yeah, like you come from a different part of life, you come from a different part of life. Yeah, so
we're all like, what's crazy is like, here I am, I'm in my 20s, you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s. We're all in different stages of our lives too.
The evolutionary chart.
Like,
it's like what it's gonna look like for Tiger as we get older.
Yeah, like I'll be in this seat in like 10 years, and then I'll be in
Tiger's
that
like,
seat
what the fuck happened to my melanin in those years? And then I transitioned back, and I got it back.
I mean, I'm coming up. I'm almost in the 30s seat, so it's right around the corner.
Oh, dude, that old man's barking, dude.
Oh yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm a grumpy old man, so.
Me too, and I've been one since I was like 16.
But hey, what's cool though is like, it doesn't matter the age difference, because the one thing that brought us all together here is jiu-jitsu, right? Like meeting in a gym, and then it's just so happens to be like, oh yeah, these are actually cool dudes that you can sit and have a conversation, drink beers with, and just hang out, and like have a lot to teach. And even myself, being the younger person, I'm sure I there's some things in my life that I can share that maybe teach you guys too, Yeah, it's like we're all students to life. So it's a great podcast and a great way to just, go out and chill and just have some time within your community and with people. Because I mean, we spend way too much time on our phones. So to just be here, it's great.
And if you want to be a guest on our podcast, also let us know.
Yeah, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, come chill and grab a mic.
We are going to have Eric put you through a 15-step background check to make sure we can actually be in the room with you, but we will do this.
Yeah,
we'll do a FaceTime.
Yeah,
yeah, that's safe.
Should we sign out of this one?
Yeah, right. Thanks, guys.
All right,
cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yep.
Oh, my beer's gone. Cheers. All right.
Yep.
Till next time.